This conference will now be recorded.
So hope you guys are able to hear me clearly today. So if there are any audio issues, do ping me in the chat. And okay, so uh, my name is Krushik. I have around 14 years of experience in IT, specifically into automation and performance engineering. So I'll be the trainer for this course, which is LoadRunner, from basic to advanced. So the agenda for today is what you're seeing on the screen now. So before we discuss those points in detail, um, you, after every point in the agenda, I'll be giving you a minute or two to ask any questions, or at the end of the demo session, you can ask, or you can make a note of all the questions and you can ask at the end of the demo as well. Okay. That is one thing, and also request you to uh, be on mute while the session is going on, only for today. So when the actual session starts, right? So you can stop me anytime, not just today. Okay. So maybe from tomorrow, you can, whenever you have doubt, you can just stop me. Okay. So coming back to this um, demo session. So we are going to discuss these 5 points as part of our demo session. So the first one is, what is this performance testing all about, and why LoadRunner tool, and little bit about the LoadRunner architecture. So all of us will understand how this tool will work, or what kind of components are there in this architecture. And also we'll do a simple record and replay for today. Okay, just to have some practical idea about the scripting part. And also we'll go through the course content, and then finally we'll have the Q&A. Okay, so now let's begin without any delay. Let's start with this first point from our agenda. What is performance testing? So before going there, I would like to share a slide. So here, um, so in IT, or specifically in the information technology sector, so we have something called software testing. Okay, which is actually a part of the entire development, the software development life cycle. So this software testing is again divided into two main things. One is functional testing, and the other one is non-functional testing. So functional testing is all about testing the functionality of the application. Okay, so if I give you any if I give you any application to check if the login is working as expected or not. Okay, so what you generally do, you launch the application. I mean, you browse the application, you enter the valid username and password, and you try to log in, and you verify the login functionality. Okay, so that means you are actually testing the functionality of it. Okay. um so in as part of this functional testing, we have these regression testing or integration testing. You might have heard about these, especially if you're in IT, or especially if you're coming from manual testing background. You might have heard these terms. Okay, and the tools that we use to do some regression testing for these are like Selenium or UFT. Okay, so these are pretty popular in the market as well, with respect to the functional testing or the regression testing. Okay, functional regression testing. Now, when it comes to the non-functional testing aspect, so it primarily focuses on the aspects like performance, security, and usability, etc. So where our learning is all about the performance aspect. So performance is one aspect of the non-functional testing. Okay, and here the primary focus will be to test the performance of an application. So I'll tell you one. one generic example or difference between this and this. Um, so you have something called a lift or an escalator, what you call. In few places we call lift, in some places we call escalator, right? So let's say you um, you you went inside the lift and you press 3. So what do you mean by that? It means you are inside the lift and then you press 3. That means it should go to third floor as per the functionality, right? As per the functionality, it should go to third floor. So when you press
Yes.
3, okay, when you press 3 and if it is going to third floor, that means the functionality is working as expected. Okay.
Hmm.
And when you press 4, it is if it is going to fourth floor, that means it is working as expected. Now, when it comes to non-functional testing, especially the performance aspect, it's not only about whether it is going to the right floor or the correct floor or not, but also the important thing is how much time it is taking to go to third floor or fourth floor. So if a user is inside the lift and press 3, that means 3 button, and then how much time it is taking for the lift or an escalator to go to third floor from ground floor, from 0th floor to third floor, how much time it is taking. that is that is related to the performance aspect. Okay, it is actually going to the third floor, that is functionality, of course it is important. Apart from that, performance is something important as well, like how much time it is taking. Okay, now if you are the only person in the lift, okay, how much time it is taking. Normally, in any lift or an escalator, the capacity of the lift will be like 10 persons or 8 persons, something like that, right? Now, when all those 10 persons are in the lift and they press 3, how much time it is taking to go to third floor? So that means you have the full capacity, you have full capacity inside the lift and you press 3, how much time it is taking to go to third floor is equally important. Okay, so that means not only the functional thing, the non-functional aspect like performance is very, very important. Okay, and to test this performance, okay, in software field, we have some tools like LoadRunner, JMeter, and we have other tools like Gatling, NeoLoad, and so on. But the primary tools in the market which have good share in the market in terms of the projects and all, LoadRunner and JMeter are the two primary tools in the market. Okay, so both of these tools are equally important in IT field. Okay, so if you know one tool, you at some point of time in your career you have to definitely learn the other tool as well. Okay, because nowadays the market is expecting a performance tester to know at least two performance testing tools. Okay, and it would be great if that is LoadRunner and JMeter. Okay, so hope everyone understood the primary difference between functional testing and non-functional testing, and in the non-functional testing we are focusing primarily on the performance aspect. Okay, so in this case in this case when I told you just now that when 10 people are on board, that means inside the lift with full, that means the lift is with full capacity, and then all of them press 3 or one of them press 3 and all have to go to third floor, how much time it is taking to go to third floor with its full capacity? Okay, which is full load, I can say load. Okay, that means the load is there on the system, that means on the lift, and then it is going to the third floor. So it's not about a single person. If single person is there and you press 3, it will go to third floor maybe. When 10 people or when the full load is applied, then how is it performing? That is important from the performance tester perspective. Okay, if I ask you in software, coming back to the software testing terminology, okay, coming back to the software testing things, if I give you uh, some website and ask you to test some performance, For example, let me check 1 second. So, okay. So here, okay, 1 second. Just give me 1 minute. I'll just take the URL. So from software testing perspective, I'll tell you one example, or I can try it. Okay, 1 moment. Okay, let me try this. Okay, so let's say this is some application. Okay, let's say this is some application. Now there is something called login or sign in here. So to test the functionality of sign in, what we have to do? First, you should launch the application like what we have done here. Okay, and then you enter username and you enter password and you click on this sign in button. Correct? If this username and password are valid, and then you click on sign in button, it will obviously go to the home page. After login, it will successfully log in and go to home page. That is testing the functionality of login. That comes under functional testing. Now, when a user launches this URL, enters username and password and click on sign in, and then how much time it is taking to go to home page, that is important from performance tester perspective. Not only the functionality, but the time taken to go or navigate from one page to another page is very, very important. Okay, hope everyone understood. Now, now when single person is actually entering username and password and clicking on sign in, the performance might be very good. Like you might navigate to home page in just a fraction of second or 1 second or 2 seconds max. But assume when when 500 users or 500 people launch this particular URL and then enter this username and password and click on sign in button, then how the application is behaving, or how much time it is taking to go to home page, that is important. Why? Because we are applying some load. Load is nothing but the number of users here in today's context. Okay, everyone understood? So when multiple people are accessing the application, how much time it is taking for the application to navigate from one page to another page, like that. That is important for us to test. Hope everyone are clear. Now, considering that uh, here I can write as in simple terms, checking the performance of an application, okay, by applying some load. Okay, isn't it a simple one liner? I didn't use any textbook definition. I just wrote what we discussed in one line. So if you are checking the application, sorry, if you're checking the performance of an application by applying some load on the application, simple, right? Okay, load, what do you mean by load? The number of users who are accessing the application. Okay, now let's say there is a bank application. Okay, let's say there is a bank application. The client, you are the performance tester. The client came to you, I mean the bank client came to you and said, hey, can you do some performance testing for my bank application? So that means you have to ask them, like, with how many users we have to test, how many users do you expect to access your application and perform some actions? Okay, so like that we ask some details. We try to simulate the same thing through our tool like LoadRunner or JMeter or whatever it is. Okay, so all in all, in simple terms, performance testing is all about checking the performance of an application by applying some load. Okay, hope everyone are clear so far, because this is just a demo session, right? I don't want to take for much time on this. Okay, hope you got some idea about what is performance testing and how is it different from the functional or manual testing that the other teams do. Okay. Uh, If you have any questions, you can just make a note of it also. We can discuss at the end as well. Now, why performance testing is important? This is also an important point. Okay. So why performance testing is very, very important. So if you remember, I'll tell you one example. I mean, there are so many examples nowadays, but then I'll tell you one example. In 2013 or 14, if I remember, there was an e-commerce site uh, which announced a first big sale or a festival sale um, kind of thing for the first time. Normally, let's say, just a guess, I mean, just a guess number. Let's say normally per every day in a normal day, let's say 10,000 users, okay, 10,000 people access the application, that e-commerce application. Now, because they announced a big sale or a festival sale, what happened? The users accessing the application increased by 10 to 20 times, like one, uh, like, 100K or one, what you call 1 lakh or 200K or 2 lakhs users like that. Then, because it was the first time, that e-commerce site couldn't handle the load and the application crashed. Okay, that means they didn't expect those many users to access the application. So they were not ready or they were not prepared to, they didn't prepare the application to handle those many users. Okay, so after that, from that next year, I think from 2015 or something, till now, I'm sure I think they didn't face any such issue because they are focusing on the performance aspect since then. Okay, so that's the reason performance testing is very, very important in every project. If performance testing is not conducted, then applications might face some problems like slowness. Like you will see pages loading forever. You might see this in many of the applications. Like you click a link or you click a button and the page keeps loading, loading, loading forever. Okay, and eventually all these issues will result in business loss, financial business loss. Okay, that's the reason performance testing is very, very important. Without doing performance testing, the application will not go live. That means the application will not be given to the real users without going through the performance testing phase. Hope everyone clear. Okay. Uh, Simple. I mean, think from a normal user perspective. Let's say I want to I have mobile, right? So let's say I want to order some groceries from an application. I opened some XYZ application and I'm trying to I'm trying to add few items to cart, but it is taking a lot of time for some reason. I'm not able to add items to cart. It is taking too much time to load. The prices are not loading. The images are not loading. I will see once or twice or thrice. After 2 3 days, I will get irritated and I'll see, okay, it's this application is wasting my time. I'll see, I'll switch to some other application which is giving the same features and similar kind of app. Okay, so in that way, if the performance is poor, it is directly impacting the revenue. It is directly impacting the finance of the business. Okay, so we all are in the phase where we don't want to wait, right? Longer time. Like everything should happen on a click of a button or a click of a link. That's what we expect every day. We play games. We don't want the page. We don't want the game to freeze. Sometimes we play games and it freezes. Okay, it will not respond. So we don't want to play games like those. We want the games to be which are like uh, very quick in terms of the navigations and all that stuff. Okay, so that's the reason performance testing is very, very important. So hope you understood this point as well. If you have any questions, do let me know. Okay, so now with uh, with an understanding of what is performance testing and why performance testing, uh, then now question comes like why LoadRunner. See, there are various tools in the market like LoadRunner, JMeter, NeoLoad, Gatling, etc. Obviously, every tools will have their own advantages and disadvantages. The advantage of the LoadRunner tool is this is the tool which is there since many years, since ages. Okay. Uh, so this tool is a licensed tool basically owned by OpenText. Okay, now earlier it was from Mercury initially, and then from Mercury, I think it moved to HP. Okay, HP organization, and then from HP it moved to Micro Focus. Okay, and from Micro Focus now it is called an OpenText LoadRunner. Okay, now why LoadRunner? Because as I said, this is a license-based tool, and it's been in use since many years. And because it is licensed, that means we have some advantages of by using this. A kind like, for example, you will have a dedicated support from the OpenText team, vendor team, and you can test uh, as many users as you want without any major hurdles. Okay, so it's a very good UI interactive tool. Okay, and you can test anything and everything almost in a single installation. Okay, that's the advantage because it's a licensed package, licensed tool. Everything will come as a single bundle or package. Once you install, that's it. I mean, 99% of the times you don't need to go or search anything outside. Okay, everything you can run or use within the tool itself. Okay, now this tool, because it's there since many years, it is being used by so many multinational companies and for the various projects. Okay, especially banking, financial, and insurance companies. They use this tool a lot because uh, banks, insurance companies, and all those companies, financial institutions, and all, they give more preference to data security. Because this is a licensed tool, the data is more secured. So if they use this tool for their projects, they feel that their data is very secured, and 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 there will be some agreements and all that stuff, right? So the clients will feel more secure, more secured, and they feel the data is more secured by using this tool. That's the reason it is more popular. Okay, and it is the only tool in the market which supports many protocols. Okay, that is, I think, I don't think there is any other tool which will support these many protocols like what LoadRunner is currently doing or LoadRunner has been doing since many years. Okay, now, but you might ask me, sir, just now you said LoadRunner and JMeter are primarily used in the market, so why not JMeter? I'm not saying like why not JMeter. JMeter is also important, but it is a free open source application, open source tool basically. So obviously, when it is open source, you will have little bit more challenges than LoadRunner in terms of configurations, scripting, and all that stuff. I mean, this is my personal opinion. Um, and as I said, as a performance tester, at some point of time, you need to learn both. Okay, if you start with JMeter, then eventually you have to learn LoadRunner as well. If you start with LoadRunner, after a few days, you have to learn JMeter as well. Okay, it is that important. So every performance tester should know or should master at least two performance testing tools, and those should be LoadRunner and JMeter. Okay, for good opportunities in the market. Okay, so hope everyone are clear. Now,
Yes.
coming to the LoadRunner architecture. Now, LoadRunner architecture, I will share a slide and we will derive the architecture based on some questions. So now, if you see if you just recollect the definition what we discussed of performance testing, I said performance testing is all about checking the performance of an application by applying some load. Okay. Now, I will take one example. Let's say there is a bank application, banking website. Now we have to now the banking client came to us. We are the performance testers. Now the banking client said, hey, can you do some performance testing on this application, on this banking website or application? And then we got some inputs from them, like we need to test with some 500 users. Okay, that means what client is expecting is, if 500 users are accessing this bank application, okay, they might perform various actions. Like out of those 500 users, some of them might be transferring money, some of them might be downloading statements, some of them might be paying credit card bills, etc. But all in all, 500 users or people should be accessing the application. And what client requirement is, when 500 people or users are accessing the application, how it is responding. Is it taking too much time, or is it responding too slow? Okay, what exactly is going to happen when we run with 500 users? Can you test and let me know, is what client will tell you. Then will you bring 500 people and give them 500 laptops and ask them to sit at one place, and then ask them to log into this bank application and tell us how it is performing? Is it what you will do? Anyone?
No.
No. I mean, so if client is asking you to test this application with 500 users, you cannot bring 500 people and give them 500 laptops and ask them to log into this bank application, and then we will see how it is responding and all that stuff. Not possible. Even though let's assume it's possible, suddenly client came back and said, hey, no, it's not 500 users. I want you to test with 2000 users. Then what will you do? Will you bring 2000 people and give them 2000 laptops and all? No, it will not work like that, right? That's the reason in the LoadRunner architecture, we have a component called load generator. Okay, we have a component called load generator. The primary um, feature of this particular machine, okay, these are also machines. So the primary feature of this load generator machine, what actually it will do is, it will generate or simulate the virtual users for us. Okay, this machine, this load generator, they are also machines, basically highly configured machines, which I mean, basically by using these machines, we will be able to simulate some X number of users, like 1000 users, 2000 users, like that, depending on the configuration of that machine. Okay, but all in all, load generator, these are highly configured machines which are used to generate or simulate virtual users. And all these virtual users will mimic the same behavior like what a normal user does. Like you click that link, virtual user will also click that link. You click a button, this virtual user will also click that button. Okay, so like that, the main feature of this particular load generator component is, it is used to simulate virtual users or generate virtual users for us. Okay, hope everyone are clear with this component. Now, when you have users ready, what is next? Take the banking application only. Now, you have to test, or you have to do a performance testing for some of the important scenarios of this banking application. Can anyone tell what is one important scenario, or a business important or critical business scenario for the online banking application? Anyone?
Payments.
Uh,
Payment.
yeah, payment, or can I say something like transfer
Yeah.
money,
Transfer.
transfer money?
Money transfer to government.
Transfer. Yeah, so that means that is a critical business scenario. That means if there is any performance issue while you transfer money from one account to another account, then imagine the amount of loss this business, the banks will face. Okay, so
Yes.
that's the reason, as a performance tester, let's say we are testing the banking application. Let's say there is one scenario called, let's say, transfer money, and we have to do performance testing. Okay, so for to transfer money, what are the steps we have normally? What a user will do normally? First step, user launches bank application. Okay, and then user will log into the bank application, and then user will navigate to savings account or checkings account, whatever it is. Okay, and then user will select a beneficiary to whom they want to send the amount, correct? And then enter amount and click, let's say, transfer button. There is a button called transfer. Let's say click on transfer button or send button, and then log out. So isn't it these are the steps that a normal person you will perform to transfer money from one account to another account, right? So we have to do performance testing, let's say, for this scenario. Now, how do I do that? So if so, the performance tester, what they have to do is understand these kind of critical scenarios, understand the flow of what they generally do, what a user will do in real time, and simulate or generate a script, okay, which will do the same steps, okay, which will do the same steps, so that these users, what we are generating, like 500 or 1000 or whatever it is, they all users will execute these steps. Okay, that means they will run the script. So what I mean to say is, we need to have a component that will generate or that is used to generate or record or develop a script. Okay, that is called Vusion. So these actions, whatever I told you, can be converted into as a script, okay, in this component called Vusion. So in short, Vusion is a component which is used to record or generate or develop a script based on the critical scenarios what we have to test. Okay, all these steps will be converted into script in this tool, so that this script will be run by these 500 users. Okay, so every user will go and run those steps. Again, second user will go and run those steps, like that. Okay, now once your script is ready, you have users ready and you have script also ready. Then there is a component called controller or performance center, which is primarily responsible for creating all the scenarios, different kinds of scenarios that you want to test. So what are the scripts that we are developing here? We will actually upload it into this component and create a scenario, like a load test scenario. There are different performance tests like load test, stress test, endurance test, like that. So all those types of scenarios can be created in this component. Okay, so whatever the scripts we are developing here will be uploaded here, okay, for creating a performance test scenario. And then this component will also trigger the execution. This component will also trigger the execution. So let's say I uploaded this transfer money script to here, and then I configured this script to run with 500 users. Okay, then what will happen is, when you and you click on run or you click on start execution, then what will happen is this component, it will transfer the script and all the users and some dependency files to this machine. So whatever the script you uploaded here, that will be transferred along with this user count and other dependencies, and then the actual execution will happen here. Okay, why? Because this is a component which is generating the or simulating the users. So that means the execution should happen in this machine. So all the scripts, users data, everything, dependencies will be transferred from this component to this component by something called agent process. Okay, there is something called agent process. When you install LoadRunner, you will get it automatically. And then once the execution is happening or done, basically this it will again the data will be sent back to controller in terms of results and all that stuff. And finally, there is one component called analysis, which is primarily used for analyzing the results. So whatever the logs that we are getting, analysis, whatever the results that we are getting and all, this component will show that information in a graphical way and a tabular format and graphical format, and it will help us to analyze the performance issues. It will help us to analyze what went right, what went wrong during the performance test. Okay, so all in all, these are the different components of LoadRunner. Any questions? Everyone understood? I mean, because it's a demo session, I'm just giving you some good high level information. I mean, I explained uh, to some good extent itself, but because it's demo session, I mean, I hope you understood what each component is doing at least.
Yeah, got it.
Okay, so hope everyone understood, because once you execute the test, you need to analyze the results, right? If you don't analyze the results, what will we tell the client? So once we run the test, we have to analyze the results and we have to tell the client what went right and what went wrong during the load test or performance testing. Okay, based on the result, the client will take a decision, like I mean, whether to give it to the real users, or if there are any performance issues, the developers will fix it and so on. Those things we'll discuss in detail, like what is the process and all that stuff. But hope everyone understood what each component is doing here. Okay, so that is about the load runner architecture. And then we'll be seeing this sample record and replay. That means I want to record a flow, simple flow. Like the flow will contain launch and login and logout. Okay, of one application, and I'll see what application I can record. But I'll take one application now, and I will record that application, and I will generate a script for launch, login, and logout. Okay, can anyone tell me if I want to generate a script for launch, login, and logout, uh, what or which component I should launch now?
View gen
Huge.
script.
Vugen. From the architecture point of view, Vugen is a component which is primarily responsible for script generation or
Script.
recording or development. Okay. Now, once you install LoadRunner, basically, if you type Vugen like this, you will see that icon, and you click on it, it will launch a Vugen component. Okay. Now, once you launch a Vugen component, it will be something like this. Okay. And now what you have to do, let's go to, I mean, we'll discuss all those tabs and all that stuff later. But for time being, I'm just going to file, new script and solution. Okay. And here I'm going to select this protocol. Basically, this protocol, what you are seeing here, web HTTP HTML, is primarily used if you want to record anything that runs on the browser. So if you open a browser and you hit HTTP or HTTPS and some URL and you want to record such applications, then this protocol is used. So here I'll select the path where I want to save. So maybe I'll create some another folder here. So let's say this is oh, 1 second.
Improve match.
Yeah, so here let me go 1 second. Oops. Oh, okay. 1 second. Okay, let me create one new. Okay, so here I'm selecting this path. Okay, let me add one more folder here. So let's say it is 2025. Okay, and the script name is, let's say, demo, because it's the first thing that we are doing. I'm just gave demo and click create. Okay, so when I click create, it is actually creating a default empty script for me. Okay, uh, then the layout of the script will be something like this, and whatever the script that will get generated will be displayed here. And uh, there is one icon here. Okay, for today, when you click on it, it will start the recording process. So whatever the steps that you want to follow or that you want to record, so you have to execute or perform those steps after after clicking on this. So if I click on this icon over here, I mean, there are some on, okay. So before clicking on that, so there on the left hand side, you have this solution explorer, where you have multiple options or different options, which we'll discuss in detail in our upcoming sessions. But for time being, just ignore that. So there is a record icon over here. If I click on that record icon, Here, uh, okay, it's one moment. So the application that I'm going to record now is a sample application for today. That is something like, okay. Oh, 1 second, I didn't copy it. Okay. Okay, so that is something like this. So basically I will launch the application. Let's say this is a web tours. Basically this is given by OpenText only. Now I will I will launch this application. What are the steps that I want to record? I have to launch this application and then log in. Let's say I log in with some username and password. I will log in with username and password and click login, and you see the user logged in successfully, and I'll sign off. And there's a sign off button on the left hand side, right? I'll click on it, sign off. So these three steps I want to do. Okay, so here in the view gen, so once you create a script, this is the default empty script what you see. Click on the record icon. Okay, and here this option we'll discuss later. Here you select which browser you want to use for recording. Do you want to use Firefox? Do you want to use Edge? Or do you want to use Chrome? Or in whichever browser you want to use, you can use. So let's say I will select Firefox now, and then here you have to give the URL of the application which you want to record or generate the script. That means whatever the project you are working on, that project application URL for testing purpose, you have to give it here. Okay, and then click on start recording. The remaining options I'll tell you later. So when you click on start recording, what will happen is it will launch the browser, whatever I selected, with the given URL. Which browser I selected? Firefox, right? So see, it launched Firefox browser, and now it will hit that particular URL, that is WebTours application URL, and it will launch that application. See, it automatically launched that application. Okay, and then you see there is something after launching the browser and after launching the application. You see here there is something called a mobile window, and you see there is some number here which keeps on increasing as and when you perform some actions on the UI. This number keeps on increasing. When the number keeps on increasing, it is actually a good sign. That means the tool is able to successfully record the application. Okay, if the number doesn't increase, then there is some issue in terms of recording or generating the script. But if the number keeps on increasing, it's actually a good sign, no issues. And then there are different other features available like stop recording, pause recording, cancel recording, and comments and checkpoints and all that stuff. We'll discuss all these options later. But for now, I will focus on these two. Okay, just for 2 minutes, I will focus on these two. So this is called insert start transaction. See here, when I do mouse over, it says insert start transaction. And on the other side, you have insert end transaction, but it is currently disabled. Okay, so what are these two? Whatever the action that you are performing on the application, so for that you need to start the transaction by clicking on this. Okay, and then go ahead and perform the action on the UI, and then again come back here and click on end transaction, insert end transaction. In that way, we are actually separating the actions that we are performing. Okay, and when you go back and check your script, you find the script to be easy in terms of understanding when you divide into transactions. Very, very important step. Okay, now let's say I will click on this insert start transaction. Can anyone tell me what is the next action I'm going to perform on the UI?
Enter the
Giving
user ID and
credentials and login.
In a way, login is my next action that I'm going to perform, correct? So here, 1 second, I'll click again. Okay, so I'm giving a name login. There is a naming convention which we need to follow. I will tell you that later, but for time being, as everyone understands that I'm going to perform the login transaction now. So I entered login and click OK. Okay, and as soon as I click OK, you see end transaction enabled, but don't click on it. It is enabled, but don't click on it. Okay, now what you have to do, go here and perform the action. That means go ahead and enter the username and password and click login button. And once the user logs in successfully, wait for 5 seconds or and wait until the page loads, like 5 seconds or so, and then go ahead and click on this insert end transaction and select the transaction that you want to end. So the login is what I'm going to end now because that's what I created just now. That's it. Login is done. Now again I'll click on insert start transaction. Can anyone tell what is the next action I want to perform?
Log out of publication.
Log out. Okay,
Logout.
for today's session, log out. So I gave log out and click OK. And then on the UI, I'm going to click on sign off button, which is on the left hand side. Okay, the user is logged out. Now wait for 5 seconds. And then, I mean, a good process to wait for a few seconds and also verify that the page loaded completely. Okay. And then click on insert end transaction. That means you are ending the transaction logout. Now I recorded all the steps. That means my recording is done. So now I will click on stop recording. So when I click on stop recording, the tool that is the ViewGen is actually generating the script for me. See, the ViewGen generated a script for me and it will be here for time being. Okay, it will be here for time being. So you see, this is a piece of code it generated. Ignore these lines because earlier I was explaining some other concept to some other team. So I just enabled one setting because of which this piece of code generated. But ideally, normal case in your machines, you might see this piece of code, like some 40-50 lines of code you might see. So, okay, you have some code here. I'll tell you the easy way to understand this code. If you see line number 33, what it is saying, LR underscore start underscore transaction login. So what does that mean? Here, it means here we are actually starting a login transaction. So how many of you remember the movable window and there was a button called insert start transaction, right? When I click on insert start transaction, I gave a name login. Because of that, this piece of code got generated. This line got generated, line number 33. Everyone understood? Similarly, if you scroll down a little bit, if you see line number 52, it says LR underscore end transaction. Here we are starting, here we are ending. Which transaction we are ending? Login. So why this piece of line generated? Because at the time of recording, again, there was a mobile window and we clicked on insert end transaction, right? For login. That's the reason this piece of code generated, this piece of code, line number 52. Now, whatever is there between line number 33 and line number 52, this piece of code actually belongs to the login code, login part. If you can observe carefully, this is a username that I passed and this is a password that I passed. Okay, so that means we are actually sending some data. Okay, so this request is all about login. Hope everyone understood. This one request is all about login. You can confirm here. Now, if you scroll down, okay, we'll discuss these other things later. But if you scroll down, see line number 56. After 52, see line number 56. And again, we are starting another transaction. This time, which transaction? Logout. After login, I did logout, right? That's the reason logout. And if you see line number 68, LR end transaction logout. That means we are starting logout here and we are actually ending logout here. Okay, in between whatever you have, this piece of code or this request belongs to logout transaction. Any questions? So we are segregating or separating the transactions like this so that if logout is failing, so you can come here and check like, oh, what is wrong, what went right, what went wrong, like that. You can check here. Okay, and also there is one more advantage, like when you replay the script, okay, when you replay the script, in the report, if you don't have this, how will it tell? How will the tool tell uh, what is the time taking for logging out? What's the time taking for logging in? It will not be able to calculate. So when you have a start transaction and when you have an end transaction, then in between whatever the request that is being executed, how much time it is taking to execute and all that stuff, it will give you a response time. It will give you something called response time. That means how much time it is taking for login, how much time it is taking for logout, like that you can analyze. So any questions? Okay, now here logout started here, logout ended here. If we scroll up, login started here, login ended here. And if you scroll up further, can anyone tell what is this request? Can anyone? What is this?
Was that the launch?
Is it correct? It is launch. Okay, why? Because before login, what did we do? So if you see here, we are starting login. Before that, what did we do actually? We actually launched the application. But one important thing that you observe here is this is login launch request. However, there is no start transaction or end transaction for it. The reason is how these lines got generated. Can anyone tell me how these lines got generated?
We have given the inputs for that.
Correct. We have given the input on the movable window. Correct. Now
Yes.
we don't have this start transaction or end transaction for launch because even before launching the movable window, okay, the browser already launched it with the given URL. That means when I click on this record button here, so here I gave browser and URL and I clicked on start recording. So when I click on start recording, it automatically it will record this step. So when I click on start recording, then the browser launched, then the application URL was hit and we were able to see the application. And then we saw that mobile window. That means by the time the mobile window appeared, this step has been recorded already. Everyone understood? So these steps, these start transaction steps and end transaction steps are coming from this mobile window, correct? But by the time that mobile window appeared, this step has been recorded. How? Actually, by when I click on start recording, it actually launched this browser with this URL and generated this request for me. Hope everyone understood. That's the reason you don't have a start transaction or end transaction for that. However, you can add it. See here, there are different ways to add it. For time being, I'll tell you the shortcut. For whichever request, if you want to add a start transaction or end transaction, you can add from here. This is start transaction, this is end transaction. So now I'll place the cursor in line number 21 and click this insert start transaction. See, it added a step. Now I can enter the name of the transaction. See, and can anyone tell me in which line number I have to write LR end transaction for launch?
Before
33.
think and 33. Exactly
Uh,
33 line.
Yeah, after 32,
33.
before 34. Yeah, correct. So here I'll click on this insert end transaction and I will give a name to it. Okay, see, name in sense, whatever the name you are giving here, the same name should be here. If not, what is the error that we get? I will tell you in our upcoming session very soon. Okay, so I hope everyone are clear. Now, this script is generated. I didn't do anything else. So because this is just a demo, I don't want to do any enhancements or anything like that. I will replay the script now. How will I replay the script? There is a play button here. If you click on it, it will actually replay the script. Whatever the code that is generated, it will replay that, execute that. See, it executed. And after execution, it gave me a simple result and it clearly says this script contains three transactions. One is launch, another one is login, another one is logout. And launch took 0.341 seconds. Okay, and login took 0.185 seconds. Logout took 0.154 seconds. So this is the performance that we are actually validating or monitoring. How much time it is taking for the user to launch, how much time it is taking for the user to log in, how much time it is taking for the user to log out. So we are getting some initial indication or understanding of how it is how much time it is taking with one user. Okay, till now in this tool I just executed with one user. Did I give anywhere to run with 500 users or 200 users? No, right? I didn't give anywhere. So that means this script is executed by one user now. Okay, remember this point.
Krushik, I have a question.
Hmm.
So when we play this script, it will not launch the browser and do
It will,
all the thing.
it will,
Okay.
but I currently disabled that option. Basically, if you go to tools and go to options and in the scripting, basically it is covered as part of our upcoming session, but because you asked it,
Okay.
I'm just navigating the steps for you. So if you go to tools and if you go to options and if you go to scripting, there is something called, one second, there is something called replay. And here there is one checkbox called show runtime viewer during replay. Okay, so
Okay.
when you enable this option and click OK, so what will happen is it most of the applications it will show you how it is working on the UI. Okay, but for some applications it might not parse the UI properly and the UI content will not be displayed as expected. However, it will run properly, but on the UI it might not be as expected for you. But anyways, I'll show you now
Okay.
so that you'll get some clarity. So when I run this, you'll see it will run side by side. It will split the screen and it will run side by side. See? Okay, everyone saw that? Oh, it was, or was
Yes.
it too fast?
I mean, it was too fast, but yeah, it was
Okay,
there.
so I can make it, I can make the tool to wait, no problem. Yeah. Okay, so now if you run, you will see it will wait for 5 seconds for every step. See? Okay, so I mean, this option is there, but generally I personally don't use it because
Right.
I don't
Understood.
find it that much useful for me for scripting. That's the reason, I mean, all these years I very rarely I enable this option. Okay, so
We
it's up
got
to
it.
the performance tester, but yeah, there is an option actually, yes. So here I disable it. We can enable it later again. Yeah. So what?
I have a question.
Yeah.
You are launching the URL in the Firefox browser. So you are able to launch the URL.
Mhm.
In some application, like it is more secured and proxy is disabled for that to launch that application. So in that case, in LoadRunner, like what type of settings will you have to do to launch that type of application?
Yeah, actually, in LoadRunner, if you want, if your application is dependent on some proxy, in settings you have some proxy option where you need to give the proxy details of that application. So you need to get those proxy details from developer and give that proxy URL here. So basically, in earlier days, most of the applications developers used to give the proxy server name and port number, but nowadays they are giving the URL. So whatever the URL they give, you have to put it here. That's it in this checkbox, and then replay it will run. Okay, so
Okay.
yeah.
So the same application has to be tested in different browser means you have to repeat the same test with a different browser, or is there any
Uh,
option to do it multiple at a time? Uh,
no, multiple at a time you can't do, but at any point of time you want to select some browser instance, you can do that. So in runtime settings, you have this option called browser emulation, where you can choose the list of browsers from here. When you're replaying the script, you can choose the browser which you want to emulate, while replaying. So, but I mean, if you ask me how important is this, I'm not sure about your application, but all these years, whichever applications I supported, no client asked me to choose any specific browser because um, majority of the performance issues comes from the servers and database servers. So that's the reason this browser selection doesn't have much impact as of now. But yes, you have some options here to play around. Yeah.
So a quick question. Yeah, if it is a database, what protocol do you use? Like this, we're using HTTP.
Okay. So you mean to ask, so you mean to say that if you want to connect to a database through LoadRunner, so
Yeah.
which protocol are we using? Is that your question?
Yes.
So we can do it in multiple ways. You can still use web HTTP HTML protocol to connect to a database. So in this protocol, you have some functions. Like for example, if you see here, LR underscore. So here you have some functions like LR DB connect, LR database disconnect, LR database connect, LR database execute, or something. Like you have few functions here to connect to database and run some queries. Okay. And also you can use another protocol if you want to, called Java user protocol. This one, if you want to connect to database, you can use this also. So I mean, there are multiple ways. That's what I mean to say. So there are multiple ways that you can do. um, I will give you a session uh, on how to connect to database using this Java user as well. So that will be covered at the end. Yeah. Okay. So
Thank you.
okay, so just make a note of the questions. I'm happy to receive a few more questions as well, but because it is 5 minutes past 9, I'll just quickly go through the course content for you, and then we'll discuss question and answers. So this course content, what you are seeing here, is actually designed to discuss and practice everything from basic to advanced. The reason why I say basic to advanced is some of the participants in every batch, okay, since many years, they are actually from non-IT background. Some, not all participants, some of the participants. So I want my participants who are coming from non-IT, I don't want them to be behind or something like that. So that's the reason I've designed this course, um, like, which will cover from basic to advanced. When I say basic to advanced, anyone coming from non-IT, they should also be able to understand the course and catch up the pace. And if I feel that some of the participants, I mean, I'll get to know how the things are going in the first 1 week, and the second week is very important. So I'll just check in the second week how the things are going for the non-IT guys and the IT guys as well. So if I feel that some of them are lagging and some of them needs some more time, I'll just take one more additional sessions on the weekends. Uh, those are not regular sessions, but just an additional sessions for my participants, so that they will catch up the speed, and so that I can connect with them for a couple of hours and then help them, assist them to practice and all that stuff. Okay. So that's very important. Practice is very important. That's the reason. And this course content, if you see here, we'll begin with architecture basics, and we'll discuss what is performance testing all about, its life cycle, and what are these important concepts like test plan, workload modeling, and all that stuff. And then once these important topics are completed, we will switch to the practical sessions on how to install LoadRunner, and what are the features we have, how do we record and replay, and then what are the best scripting practices we have, how do we enhance the scripts, what are the options or features that we use to enhance the scripts. Okay. And different techniques, tips and tricks, and then some runtime settings, what are the different settings we have, and then different recording options we have, and then some important concepts of load runner like checkpoints. Okay, till here. And then this concept is also very, very important. So when I recorded the script just now, I didn't do anything. I just replayed the script. It worked well, and I was able to see the script as passed. But in some cases, you might need to do some small enhancements to the scripts. Okay. I mean, it can be medium level enhancements also. Very rare case, advanced level enhancements also. So in order to enhance a script which is just recorded, you need to know some basics of C language. Okay. So people ask me, sir, is coding required for this tool to master this tool? I will not say no, but I will say the concepts that we need to learn are very basics. So hardly we will learn for 3 to 4 sessions. That's it. So imagine if whatever we are covering in those 3 to 4 sessions are very important, and those 3 to 4 sessions are enough for you to enhance any script. Okay, trust me, whatever I'm teaching here in this place, these concepts, these are enough to enhance the script. Okay, I'm not going to tell you any one additional thing also. Whatever we are going to learn, we are going to practice multiple applications by using these concepts only. That means the script enhancements. Okay, and and whoever are coming from non-IT background, by looking at this term, be you should not be scared or something like that. Okay, please don't do that. It's very easy. Everyone will be able to learn in 3 to 4 sessions max. Okay, and then we will discuss some additional functions whatever we have, and we'll also discuss some other concepts like if I want to write some data to a file, if I want to read some data from a file and use it in the script, how do we do that? All those things we'll discuss, and some challenges in scripting for interview purpose. And then here, very important concept called correlation. This is also one of the LoadRunner concepts, and it is part of scripting enhancements. It's very important. We will be discussing this for 3 to 4 sessions. And then you will have a parameterization. So this is also one of the important concepts we'll discuss for 3 to 4 sessions again. So till here, the scripting will be completed. Okay, and then we will switch to controller, where we discuss how to create a scenario, how to create different types of performance tests. Okay, we discuss all those scenario creations, and then we analyze we'll go to analysis, we'll analyze the results, we execute a load test. Okay, in this course I will execute a 1 hour load test also for you guys, and I'll show you how do we do real-time monitoring and all that stuff. And apart from that, after analyzing the results, we will discuss about drafting an email to client with all our observations, like what went right, what went wrong, and all that stuff. We'll discuss a couple of sessions on interview question and answers. We will practice scripts. Okay, we'll practice scripting. Very important. We'll practice scripting on multiple applications. Okay, because the more number of applications you practice, the more easy it will be for you to work in real-time projects. Okay, and then this is one additional concept which is related to parameterization. We'll discuss this also. And then these are some bonus topics. So as part of these bonus topics, so why I added these bonus topics are actually, before this slide till here, the LoadRunner concepts are completed. Okay, but I want my participants to have some knowledge about some concepts which are outside of LoadRunner but important for interview perspective. That's the reason I added some bonus topics here, like they are Fiddler and HAR file scripting, APM tools introduction, like application monitoring tools. So here we have like 2 tools like AppDynamics and Dynatrace. So these 2 tools I will explain you. Um, so what I will do is I will take one session live, either Dynatrace, mostly Dynatrace, and I'll give you one recorded session which is of AppDynamics. That means I'm going to give a recorded session for AppDynamics, and I'm going to give a live session for Dynatrace. Okay, then I'll take one session for Jenkins also, how to use Jenkins, why performance testers are need this concept in the recent days. Okay, why performance testing projects are using this term Jenkins, where we exactly use this Jenkins, how our scripts can be triggered from Jenkins. I'll tell you on in one session. That's what we discuss here. And there is one more protocol called True Client. I'll take one more session on that, and we'll also give you the complete advanced course playlist recorded sessions on this True Client for you. Okay, it will contain like some around 10 to 12 recorded sessions if I'm not wrong. So I'll take one session live, and we'll give you that entire playlist which contains that course. So it's a different protocol, like what we discussed, like web HTTP HTML protocol, right? Like this is also another protocol. Okay, And I will also explain you about what is thread dumps and what is heap dumps to you guys, okay, in detail. And I will also discuss about load balancer algorithms. All these are important for interview. And how do you connect it to database through LoadRunner? And if there are any database issues, how do you analyze API, AWR reports? So these things we are going to discuss, and we are also going to discuss the API. How do you develop scripts for APIs, the REST services? Okay, that thing also we are going to discuss. This one is a recorded session. I'll give it to you. This one may be a recorded session, and this one may be a recorded session. So these three sessions I might give you a recorded session, and all the remaining things I'll directly take a live session mostly. Okay, I mean I'll try to take live sessions for these as well, but because I don't want to commit now and later on tell you that I'll give you a recorded session. That's the reason upfront only I'm telling 99%. I'll give you a recorded session. If my if the system allows or time permits and all, I'll take couple of live sessions on these topics as well. Okay, and apart from these recorded sessions, the recorded sessions of LRE will also be provided. Very, very important. So in the LoadRunner architecture, we have controller. There is another SaaS version of it, controller version of it, SaaS controller, what we call the LoadRunner Enterprise. So there is it will be a URL based kind of thing. So that is also very, very important for interviews and all. That's the reason I am going to give you another playlist which contains again some 10 to 12 sessions, okay, of that LRE. Okay, it's like end-to-end project. Okay, it's like a how do like you get a project. Where do you start? What do you do? What is the first step you do? Everything like practically explained in 10 to 12 sessions. So this playlist will also be shared with you guys. Okay, so all in all, it's a very good course content, and it's designed in such a way that you can, after the course, you will go and try and attend interviews, and hopefully you'll get one good placements. I mean, you hopefully you'll land into some good jobs soon. Any questions?
Yeah, I have a question.
Yeah.
Um, is there any way we could be able to have to download um, the VUGen, the controller into our
Our team,
system?
you no need to download. Our team will guide you in a day or two.
Okay.
Okay. So our team will take care of it. Let me check if I have any questions in the chat window. Uh, okay, so Rohit is asking how many days it will take to complete the course. So ideally, this course is will take around I mean it 35 to 40 sessions. So basically, like minimum 35 sessions, max 40 sessions, 41 like that. So the recent batch which I completed last week, we had around 41 live sessions. Okay, because see, I gave couple of sessions for interview question and answers. If if the participation is good, and if the team members or participants are coming up with different questions, they explore somewhere, they browse, and they get to see some questions, they want to get it clarified and all. I'm happy to assist and take additional sessions also like that, depending on the participation and everything. Uh, it might be one or two sessions more, but minimum 35 to 38 or 40 sessions are minimum sessions. And every day, Monday to Friday, sorry, every week, Monday to Friday, same time, uh, you will have this session. Okay, Saturday, Sunday, you don't have session, and you can practice on those 2 days, and I'll give you some assignments to do on the weekends so that you'll practice it accordingly. Okay, any questions? Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Session. Oh,
this is Sai Kumar. Hello.
yeah, yeah. Go ahead. Yeah.
Prashit, yes, this is uh, a script-related question. I mean, when you recorded a script, but I have seen one session, the correlated value you have mentioned. So, have you implemented in a script level auto-correlation formula? I mean, when you're recording the session, when you're recording the script in the functionality using Vision, we can't do any correlation. I could see some, session ID correlation data in the script level. Have you implemented any formula in the scripting level? Region.
Okay, in today's class,
Yes.
oh, actually, in today's session, as I told you, so in the earlier batch, we had some session to discuss about rules, correlation rules. So I implemented some rules, after which, when you record this application, it will automatically correlate the required things. So it's just a concept that we discussed for interview purpose. It's called rules, and it is called like automation. Sorry, automatic rules. It's a rule. It's a correlation rule. Okay, so it's like one of the topic, but generally we don't do that. We use we do manual correlation, and automatic correlation and correlation rules are just part of it. We will understand and learn how to use it, but mostly predominantly we'll work on manual correlation because that's what will be asked in the interviews.
Okay.
Okay, yeah. So any other questions?
So is each session just going to be 1 hour like today, or going to be 2 hours?
No, oh, okay. Basically, it's a 1 hour session every day, and depending on the topic, basically how I go is, I take a topic every day and I complete that topic. Sometimes it will be 1 hour, sometimes it will be 1 hour 10 minutes, sometimes it will be 55 minutes. So like 1 hour plus 5 or minus 5, something like that. Plus 5 minutes or minus 5 minutes for 1 hour. So basically, it's a 1 hour session every day. Okay. So any other questions? Yes, Rohit. Each and everything I mean, so for some of you who already know JMeter, while explaining the course, wherever required, I'll just mention how the same can be achieved in JMeter so that you can correlate and understand and make a note of it, and you can remember it well. Yeah. Okay. Um, any other questions? So I'm every day after the class, I can I can assist you on the doubts or practical questions that you have. So after the class, I will make, I mean, if whoever has doubts or anything to get clarified practically, so I will make them presenter and they will share the screen, and they will explain the issue. So we all can discuss and fix that issue. Okay, in that way we all can learn together. Hari, you can learn anything. First, we need to, what Hari is asking is, first we need to learn LoadRunner or JMeter. You can learn either of that. It shouldn't be an issue. Whoever learns LoadRunner, they should eventually learn JMeter. Whoever learns JMeter, they should obviously learn LoadRunner, because different organizations use different tools. Okay, depending on their projects. So, like if you see if you see there will be a company who will have both Java projects and .NET projects. So if you want to become a developer, you want to become nowadays you want to like you have to know about .NET and Java both. Similarly here also, like companies will have both LoadRunner projects and JMeter projects. So you have to start with one, any of that, but don't learn two at a time. That's the suggestion I can give you. If you learn both the tools at a time, right, you will end up learning only 30-40% of each tool. Okay, definitely not possible. Okay, even though you spend 1 hour 2 hours daily, it will be really difficult. At least you complete first 30 days in on LoadRunner. Okay, no need to focus 60 days also. If you first 30 days you practice, and then you parallelly start JMeter. Okay, like you focus 30 days, first 30 days on LoadRunner, because it's very important scripting part. And then once we switch to execution analysis and all, parallelly you can start JMeter and start practicing. start scripting practicing. So in that way it will be easy, but don't start both at a time. You will end up confused